What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. I did just make a video on XPR network, so hopefully this doesn't get too confusing for people, but for the dyslexics, I'm sorry, but I just want you to watch the wrong videos, I guess. No, from a high to a low, I'm making this video not with the intent to confuse people, but because there's a little bit of urgency. I think that we are about to move up. I really do think this look on the 4 hour says it all, right? Your 4 hour RSI, look at this, man. It's just beautiful. Consistent, higher lows, beautiful parallel trend all the way up. It's perfect. It's literally perfect. You're going to find support here. You're already finding support here. You're moving up. If this 4 hour candle in the next 1 hour and 22 minutes can close above the 60, that would solidify it for me. But already I'm very convinced that you continue to move up. Here, you probably get a lower high, some bearish divergence or something like that, and that would likely cause you to correct a little bit more. When I say correct a little bit more, I don't mean lower than this. I just mean that if you move up and you have some bearish divergence, you might correct more before moving higher again, right? Something like that. It's completely possible that you could exceed this high and go higher, right? You only stopped at about, I say only, but 85, 84. You could absolutely go above the 90. And if you see a reading above the 90, I think XRP, by the end of this week, maybe even over the next couple of days, you guys would see prices that are, at about maybe $3.20 or higher. If you were to see higher readings than this. I think if you were to go, I don't have the math, I don't have a calculator that can tell me this exactly, but if you were to go up this high, I just want to look at it and see if I can come up with, I would think you do move up to $3 on this next move. I would think you do lower high, higher high, whatever. I would think that you at least move to $3 on this next move. Let's see if it agrees with the fibs. High to low here. Nope. Nope. Yeah. So what you're doing here, absolutely indicative that you probably do go through the 786, but you probably don't go through the 886. So the highest target I give you is about 316. You could go above it, but I don't think that you're going to just break out to new relative highs right now. I don't think this is the move. I think wherever you go, whether it's in this bubble here, whether it's the next bubble up, wherever you are, you're going to consolidate some more, and then you'll get ready for your final move up. Okay, so right now, probably if things go the way that I think they're going to go, probably by the end of this week, if not even by the end of like Wednesday or over the next 2 days, I would think that we see prices that are not only above $3, but probably around 315, if not just below there. Something around this area is what I'm thinking. If we go above, the highest I give you is $4, or no, sorry, $3.40. No new all-time highs yet. That's something that'll likely come not by the end of this week, but by the end of the month is when I think you'll see new all-time highs. So if by the end of this week you've done something like this, you moved up here, and then you're consolidating, or even by Tuesday you do something like this, at this rate, I mean, genuinely, the way I drew it there, that would put you in like the middle of Tuesday that you could be up here. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you could consolidate, going into the weekend, and then starting the following week, you could start to move up. I'm just drawing this just off the top of my head. It doesn't have to happen exactly like this. Wouldn't it be funny if it did? But on a time perspective here, you can see at the end of the month, this is the end of the month right here, this line right here going up. It would make sense that we probably do break out to new all-time highs literally at the end of the month. That's kind of my expectation here. Okay, so a little bit higher from now. I hope that's clear. Something above $3, likely around 315, probably not above this high here, but that will happen, I think, over the coming days. It's Monday now, so by the end of Wednesday, I would actually expect that to happen, and then we probably spend the rest of the week consolidating. I don't think that you will exceed these levels. I think that you will find resistance here, turbulence, maybe just as much as you found here, maybe a little bit more. Maybe it's a little bit more pronounced, but nothing that's going to be detrimental, something that is productive and will cast you higher. It'll get you set up for higher movements, okay? Whenever you do move higher, whenever you break out of the zone as a whole, if we look at the daily aspect, you take a high to a low, the immediate targets to consider, these are like first week of March targets to consider, would be prices above $4. First week of March, XRP Army, you're going to be marching your way to $4, maybe even up to $5.05, something in this area. That's your primary target zone, the 1272 to the 1618. Whenever you break above the 1618, and I very much think that you will in March break above that, right? So this is just maybe like the first week of March you're in this zone, right? Maybe you're in there in the second week of March. Maybe it's even the third week of March, but in that final week of March or earlier, I would assume you do press higher. I think that you continue to go higher. When you break above the golden ratio, you immediately gain access to the 1886 area, 1886 to the 2618. So that's anything between $6 to $9.60. By the way of the fibs here, my expectation would be that XRP is at least at $6, if not at most at $9.60 by the ways of the fibs, right? This is just fundamental kind of basic stuff. I definitely think XRP is going to be worth even more than this. I actually have a suspicion we'll be up in this zone. This is what I call the money zone. And let me just go over that real quick, right? I was talking about the primary zone here, the 1618 to the 1272. Oftentimes, even if you go higher, you find some turbulence in this area before progressing higher. The reason why I identify this as a zone is because oftentimes you don't have access to the next area until you break above the 1618, right? When I say break, I don't mean wick. I mean closing a day above it, right? You oftentimes don't have access to this area, right? You don't see just an immediate move up like this, though it does happen, especially in crypto. We get these moves right up to the 1886s, but even then, oftentimes you find turbulence first before making your way up there, right? And then once you break through this, that's how you know you're going to this zone up here. In rare occasions and less common occasions, but they're very strong conditions that this is met, you can actually even bypass the golden ratio, the second extension here, the second golden ratio, the 2618. You can bypass the top ends of the second zone and go straight up to what I call the money zone. I call this the money zone because oftentimes whenever you do hit this, and this is not an often thing you do not oftentimes bypass the 2618, okay? Oftentimes you stop below it, but in the times that you do bypass it, you don't see anything that's too much higher than these levels. Right, anything above that, that's more after you consolidate and then you progress higher at a later date, right? Whenever I'm talking about one swift move, the highest I could see XRP going is $11.40 to $13.20. I call that the money zone because if it ever happens, it tends to be in a very swift move, very productive move. And when you get it, it works out 90% of the time, man, that you sell it. I don't even know if 90% is the right word. Like almost every time, if not every time. I can't think of a single time that this has steered me wrong. I say that, watch this be the time it steers me wrong, and XRP just goes to $20 by the end of March, or maybe it doesn't even go here at all. But I think that at the highest, 1140 to 1320 could be where you go. And I love that. I love that this fib, the money zone, which only comes activated in very strong moves, and I don't know about you guys, but XRP had a very, very strong move here. I would expect that it has a very strong move coming out of it as well. I love that that zone lines up here with this fib, because if we zoom out and we go on a weekly aspect here, we go to last bull market's high in April of 2021 to the bear cycle low here in June of 2022. That money zone right there, 3113 to the 2886, lines up very well with the 1886 to the 200 level. Okay, it lines up very, very, very well with that. Okay, the minimum target would be $6.41, but I personally don't think that you stop there because again, you've already interacted. If I take away this fib here, you've already interacted with your primary zone. Okay, the interaction you've had, even though you didn't go all the way up to your 1618, you've interacted with your primary zone. This automatically sets you up for a strong possibility that when you progress through this zone again, that you do break through it. And being that you interacted with the base of this zone as resistance, my bias would be that you interact with the base of the next zone, which is the 1886 to the 200 as resistance, right? It's kind of like that with the fibs. And it's not always like this. Don't take this 100% of the way, but if this move went all the way up to the 1618 and it consolidated the 1272, wouldn't it make sense that instead of thinking of stopping here, that it would go higher, right? Doesn't that make sense? So being that we're at the lower ends of this extended zone, the primary zone, whenever we do break out of it, wouldn't it make sense that we find resistance at the lower end because we found resistance? You know what I mean? It kind of works like that. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody or not, but that's just how my brain works. I genuinely don't think 641 is where we're going to go because I think we'll go higher. Because the minimum target from the all-time high to the bear cycle low of that 2017 to 2020 bear market there, the minimum target here is at 837. And again, you get this $13 level coming up at the 1414 there. A lot of cryptos this cycle and last cycle, whenever they make these erratic kind of moves, they do like to find resistance at the 1886 200 level. I could very well see with this kind of consolidation that you bypass the 1618 and go right up there, right? If you bypass the 1618, you'll hit the minimum target here at $8.37 of this fib. And oftentimes, if you break above the 1272, you don't stop until you hit the 1414, right? It's not impossible, and it happens a decent bit of the time. I'd say 40%, maybe less than that, where you find resistance below the 1414 and above the 1272. But oftentimes, if you wick just a little bit above it, okay, that's one thing. Oftentimes you'll find resistance right at it, but not in between these levels, right? If you're going to go for the 1-for-1-for, oftentimes you'll at least hit it, if not even go through that. But I personally don't think that you're going to go through it. I think the 1-for-1-for really does serve as a maximum here, and we get that on this fib here. We also got it on the other fib with the money line. So there's a lot suggesting that XRP could really just shock the world, you guys. I very much think, I know that a lot of people are on board with XRP now because it's pumped and it's proven the world that it's still relevant and that it's here to stay, right? Garlinghouse is making a name for himself in the new administration, right? Trying to get this thing integrated into the crypto reserves, and I think that he will. I really think people are underestimating this thing still. It's funny that there's so much hate. Maybe it's not funny, I don't know, but there's a lot of hate and disbelief around this coin still, and that those coins that have so much hate and disbelief, they're shrouded in it. They tend to do the best, right? It's whenever everybody starts to believe that they start to slow down, right? Because you think about it, psychologically speaking, it kind of makes sense, right? The people that if the majority of the population thinks it's a joke, and you're invested in it, well, then you're kind of an early adopter. Early adopters make the most money. By the time everybody thinks it's not a joke anymore and they're taking it seriously, you're no longer in an early adopted kind of standpoint, right? Look at the story of Bitcoin; it's the exact same thing. I'm just saying that I think people are underestimating XRP here. I really do accept that 837 is the minimum target, but truthfully, guys, I don't think you're going to stop anywhere less than $10. I think 11 to 13 bucks, 13.50 is on the table for sure. You're at 274 now, and I expect all of this to happen by the end of March. Certainly, I expect by the end of the month you'll be at new all-time highs, and then going into the end of March, the middle of March, you'll likely be worth several dollars higher, if not even $10 higher than your current price. That's all I got for you. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye-bye.